Honestly, Ava, aren't you ashamed? Glittering chandeliers illuminated the country club ballroom, reflecting off Brianna's diamond tiara. My mother's words, sharp as shattered glass, echoed through the room, aimed squarely at me. My stomach dropped. Leo squeezed my hand. 9 years, 9 long years of silent judgments, all culminating in this public display. The scent of lilies and expensive perfume couldn't mask the bitterness rising in my throat. Inside, I was screaming. Outside, I remained composed. My hands trembled, but my smile didn't waver. A text buzzed in my pocket. Henderson just approved the Miller account. A small victory, a secret shield. Ever been there, feeling unseen? Stick around, justice is brewing, and trust me, you won't want to miss how this all unfolds. Hit subscribe follow for the sweet, sweet payback coming soon. September 12, 2014, college graduation day. Brianna received a brand new Lexus, gleaming under the afternoon sun, complete with a giant red bow. I got a stern lecture on responsibility and a used microwave for my cramped dorm room. Nancy proclaimed Brianna's business degree a triumph, while my accounting aspirations were dismissed as just a job. The disparity stung, less for the car itself and more for the casual dismissal of my worth. Christmas, 2016. The air in my mother's immaculately decorated living room crackled with forced cheer. Brianna showcased her designer handbag, a gift from her then-boyfriend, David. I had carefully chosen a hand-knitted scarf for Nancy. Leo nestled in my arms. Nancy barely glanced at my gift, instead focusing on the generosity of Brianna's suitor. I remember the soft wool scratching Leo's cheek, the metallic scent of the Christmas tree overwhelming me, and the crushing weight of being perpetually unseen. That Christmas, I vowed that Leo would never feel like the unwanted part of a family portrait. June 3, 2024, Brianna's wedding day, the final straw. As the toasts commenced, Brianna and Nancy took to the microphone, their words dripping with saccharine sweetness and thinly veiled contempt. "We're so proud of Brianna's success," Nancy gushed, her gaze sweeping pointedly toward me. "It's wonderful to see her living the life she deserves, unlike some who made different choices." Brianna chimed in, her voice laced with faux sympathy. "We just want Ava to be happy, even if her path is less conventional." My cheeks burned, a familiar sting of humiliation washing over me. Leo's small hand tightened around mine, his innocent eyes reflecting the cruelty of their words. It was this moment, witnessing the pain etched on my son's face, that solidified my resolve. Enough was enough. I rose to leave, Leo in tow, but a hand on the microphone stopped me. Brianna's new husband, David. I hadn't recognized him at first. "Before we continue," David's voice boomed, silencing the room. My heart hammered against my ribs. This was it, the moment of truth. Years of carefully constructed lies were about to crumble. David paused, his gaze sweeping across the stunned faces. "I know Ava. I knew her long before I met Brianna." The air crackled with tension, my breath hitched. "Years ago, my sister Sarah was terminally ill. She spent her last months at St. Jude's." He paused, his voice thick with emotion. "Ava volunteered there, tirelessly caring for patients, offering comfort and support. She sat with Sarah, read to her, held her hand when she was scared. Ava never knew who I was, but I saw everything she did." The room was utterly silent, every eye fixed on us. David continued, his voice gaining strength. "No judgment, no expectation of reward, just pure selfless kindness. I saw Ava arrive at the hospital, smelling of burnt coffee and stale Cheerios, a constant smell of every broke and tired mom I knew and loved. Her clothes were worn and she looked exhausted, but she always had a smile for Sarah." I remembered those days, the endless cycle of work, studies, and hospital visits. I'd arrive at St. Jude's after a long shift at the diner, the grease clinging to my clothes, the weariness settling deep in my bones. No sleep, no money, no hope of recognition, only the unwavering desire to alleviate suffering. To paint Ava as a cautionary tale is not only inaccurate, but it's a profound disservice to the incredible woman she is. Her compassion, her resilience, her strength, these are qualities to be admired, not scorned. A murmur rippled through the room. I stood frozen, tears welling in my eyes. The shift was palpable. Whispers of admiration replaced the veiled insults. Mrs. Henderson approached me, her eyes wide with surprise. "Ava, I had no idea. Your work on the Peterson merger has been invaluable." She added, barely audible, that the VP position was as good as mine. David's parents rushed to my side, enveloping me in a warm embrace. Thank you, Ava, David's father said, his voice choked with emotion. Sarah spoke so highly of you. My family watched, stunned into silence. The narrative they had so carefully crafted had been shattered, replaced by a truth they couldn't deny. Their power, their judgment, their carefully constructed image of superiority crumbled before my eyes. The years of silent pain, the constant dismissal, the hidden sacrifices, all of it had led to this moment. No shame, no regret, no apologies. Only the quiet satisfaction of knowing that my true worth had finally been revealed. It was about time. I was tired of waiting. The following week, I received an email. Subject: Grandma's condition. My grandmother, Margaret, the only member of my family who had consistently shown me kindness, had suffered a stroke. The email, terse and impersonal, was sent from Brianna. This was it, the unavoidable return. A gathering at the Thompson family home was imminent. I hesitated. Did I really want to re-enter that viper's nest, even for Grandma? But Margaret had always been my anchor, a source of unwavering love in a sea of judgment. I owed her this. I spent the afternoon subtly preparing. A quick call to Henderson securing the time off. A new, tailored suit replaced my usual understated attire. This visit wasn't just about family, it was about demonstrating my transformation. I chose a simple, elegant necklace, a tangible symbol of my quiet success. The Thompson house loomed before me, an imposing brick edifice that screamed wealth and exclusivity. The air hung heavy with tension as I parked my car, a late-model BMW, a deliberate choice, a subtle status indicator. This wasn't the shamed, struggling Ava of years past. This was a woman who had built her own empire, and she was ready to claim her space. Inside, the atmosphere was thick with forced civility. Nancy greeted me with a tight smile, her eyes darting to my suit, then to the car keys dangling from my hand. Brianna offered a perfunctory hug, her gaze lingering on my necklace. The contrast between my present and their past perception was palpable, a silent battleground. Their obliviousness to the depth of my transformation was almost comical. Margaret lay in her bedroom, frail but alert. Her eyes lit up when she saw me. "Ava, darling," she whispered, her voice weak but filled with warmth. "I'm so glad you're here." Seeing her, I knew I'd made the right decision. Family, with all its flaws, still mattered. "What's that you're driving these days, Ava? Still that clunker?" Brianna asked, a saccharine smile plastered on her face. I paused, savoring the moment. "Actually, Brianna, I traded it in," I replied, my voice calm and controlled. "I'm driving a BMW now, much more reliable." A flicker of disbelief crossed her features. Nancy scoffed, "A BMW? Don't tell me you went into debt for that showy thing, Ava, you never learn." I smiled, a genuine smile this time, born not of politeness but of quiet triumph. "No debt, mother. Sterling Ventures has been very generous. In fact, I was just promoted to vice president last week." The room fell silent. Brianna's jaw dropped, her carefully applied lipstick smudging slightly. Nancy's face paled, her eyes widening in disbelief. The color drained from Brianna's face and her perfect posture slumped. Even David looked surprised. It was beautiful. "Vice President?" Nancy stammered, her voice barely a whisper. Her eyes darted from me to the expensive handbag I'd left carelessly on the table, then back to my face. "Yes," I confirmed, enjoying their reactions. "Overseeing the entire accounting division. It's quite demanding, but I manage." A glass shattered in the kitchen, a clumsy accident that perfectly mirrored the shattering of their carefully constructed reality. My phone pinged. Miller account signed and finalized. I glanced at it, a small, satisfied smile playing on my lips. "It's wonderful, dear," Nancy managed, her voice strained. "We always knew you had potential." Her words, dripping with insincerity, were music to my ears. The power had shifted. The game had changed. "Potential?" I echoed, tilting my head. "You laughed then, you're not laughing now." Inside, I seethed, remembering every belittling remark, every dismissive glance. Outwardly, I was serenity itself. Brianna attempted a recovery. "Well, Ava, now that you're doing so well, Grandma's care is quite expensive. Perhaps you could contribute a little more." She reached for my hand, her touch clammy. I met her gaze, unwavering. "I'm sure David can manage," I stated, watching him visibly tense. "After all, he's marrying into a successful family, isn't he?" Nancy jumped in, her tone shifting. "Actually, Ava, there's something else. Brianna and David are looking to invest in a new business. And well, with your new position, perhaps you could offer a loan." I chuckled softly, the sound devoid of warmth. "A loan? From me?" after years of being told I was a failure. The irony is exquisite. Silence stretched, thick and heavy, they squirmed. I'm afraid my financial priorities lie elsewhere, I continued, my voice smooth as silk. Perhaps you should ask David's parents, I hear they're quite generous. You always have been so bitter, Brianna spat, her facade crumbling. I sighed, a picture of bored resignation. Bitterness is a luxury I can no longer afford. I'm far too busy managing my empire. I turned to leave, offering a parting shot. Remember those different choices you spoke of? Turns out they were the best decisions of my life. I'm free, Brianna, are you? I paused at the doorway. Actually, I said, turning back, there is one small thing I can offer. Their faces lit up with pathetic eagerness. Nancy's eyes gleamed with avarice. Brianna managed a tentative smile. Even David seemed hopeful. They thought they were about to win. They were wrong, so wrong. Remember Thompson Family Trust, the one Grandma set up years ago? I asked, watching their expressions carefully. The color drained from their faces. I had them. The trust, a seemingly insignificant detail of our family history, was about to become my ultimate weapon. Nancy's voice was a strangled whisper. What about it? I smiled, a slow, deliberate smile that sent shivers down their spines. It's structured rather uniquely. The primary beneficiary is, of course, Grandma, but upon her incapacitation, control of the trust doesn't automatically revert to the next of kin. I paused for effect, letting the implications sink in. The room was silent save for Margaret's shallow breaths. It was time to drop the bomb. The trust stipulates that if Grandma is unable to manage the funds, control passes to the family member with the highest demonstrable financial literacy and documented success in financial management. Someone say, with a vice president title in a major accounting firm. Brianna gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. Nancy's eyes widened, her face contorted with disbelief. David looked from one to the other, realization dawning on his face. They had handed me the keys to their kingdom, and they hadn't even realized it. Grandma always valued competence. She updated the trust annually. I showed her my performance reports from Sterling every single year. She was so proud. I watched the reality of my statement dawn on them, their faces slowly crumpling as they realized the full extent of their defeat. Their desperate need for the trust funds, a secret they had guarded so fiercely, was now my leverage. Brianna's lavish lifestyle, David's struggling business venture, Nancy's expensive tastes, all dependent on a trust I now controlled. So you see, I said, my voice soft but firm, I can't offer a loan, but I can ensure Grandma receives the best possible care. And perhaps, I added with a hint of steel in my voice, ensure her wishes for the trust are carried out responsibly. The silence was deafening. I straightened my suit, adjusted my necklace, and walked out, leaving them to grapple with the devastating consequences of their own arrogance. Outside, the sun was shining, the air was crisp, and for the first time in years I felt truly free. Months turned into a year. Ava thrived. The VP role suited her, clients flocked to her, and Leo flourished, excelling in school and radiating confidence. While she made sure Margaret had the best care. The Thompsons, a different story. Brianna and David's business floundered. Nancy, humbled, attempted to reconnect, seeking Ava's financial advice. Ava responded selectively, offering minimal assistance, a stark contrast to the relentless support she craved in the past. Looking back, Ava saw not victory but freedom. Financial independence bought peace, not revenge. Her worth wasn't tied to her family's approval but built. Ultimately, her success amplified her inner strength, and she chose herself and those who valued her, a quiet revolution, a new beginning. Felt that sweet relief? Now go rewrite your story, prove your worth. Share if this woke something up in you. Success beats revenge always.